Welcome to Deep Look, Ultiworld's weekly podcast about the latest in the Ultimate World. I am the editor, Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me, Ultiworld senior editor Keith Rayner on this Tuesday, December 10th. We are live every week, noon Eastern, right here on YouTube. And today we are fake live. Keith, we are fake live today. We recorded this technically last night, but we wanted to still, do the premiere thing. You're still here with us at noon. It's good.
I can't hear you, Charlie. Sorry, this is live, so we're having technical difficulties. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, we're not doing the live thing. We're not pretending.
I muted my mic accidentally. It's just like it's a real show.
Okay, good.
Keith, how's your weekend? We're just a couple weeks away from the holidays.
We're getting close. It's weird. It's like it's the end of the year. I mean, it's super going to be flipping over the calendar. It always happens so fast. It feels like. You get to Thanksgiving and then it's like bang, bang, bang. All of a sudden it's January and you're like, oh, now I gotta get all my ducks in a row for 2020. What number is it now? I'm feeling a little bit of the end of year crush.
Yep. Well, we got one more show after this week, and then we're going to take 2 weeks off. So we'll see you December 17th and then back with you on January 7th. We've got our year in review coming up next week. We will be doing our bold predictions for 2020, whatever year it is, on the 7th. We are very excited today, though. We got a very special episode. Not a ton of news to get to today. Shout out to the beach teams. I think maybe we'll discuss that a little bit in a sub bonus or something. But we are joined today by friends of the pod, former Ultiworld contributors Daniel Prentice and Preston Thompson, who are co-hosts of the Drafted podcast. They've been with us here on Deep Look many times before. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you so much for having us, Charlie. We're excited.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. I feel like you are not taking us live on purpose. You maybe don't trust us, but that's okay. I wouldn't trust us either.
I'm riding the mute button.
We could not do our show live. That is for sure.
Not a chance.
Now, Daniel, I see you have the very nice Drafted 5-panel going on there. How is the merch sales in the podcast land? Like, should Keith and I make merch for Deep Look? There is literally none that exists.
I've actually been thinking about this. I don't really know why. The lack of Ultiworld merch in general is criminal.
It's criminal, right?
I don't know what you guys are doing. You're missing a beat. People would gobble up the Deep Look merch. They would gobble up every podcast merch, the Ultiworld merch. You guys are missing a beat there for sure.
The only Ultiworld merch I have, having worked there for so long, is a thing that says staff on the back, which creates so many problems if I wear it out in public. I'm like immediately being pulled aside in the grocery store asking where stuff is. So I just can't really wear it outside of the house.
I literally have asked for some of our gear to not say things like media or staff on the back for exactly that reason, so that I can not be harangued in public.
When you're wearing media on the back, people pull you over the grocery store. They're
yes.
Like,
I saw the assassin. I saw the assassin in McDonald's. Oh
my God.
Keith, do you have any reporting about the media, about the merch situation?
It's in progress. There are things in the work.
Ooh.
There's things cooking. There's
Keith's in his
pots
lab
on the
right
stove.
now.
I'm in the lab. You know what I'm saying? I'm labbing. I've taken proposals. If you feel like you have a killer design and you want to get in on the ground floor, hit me up. I'm open to design ideas and even from our own audience and subscribers. So if you got some dope designs you want to share that you think would be sweet to sell to people, hit me up. We'll talk. But I have things cooking. There are emails being exchanged like almost every week about more merch. So.
Well, Preston and Dan, we will send you some merch when we have it.
Oh, yes. That'd be amazing.
We don't even have to win the draft to get that. That's awesome. No pressure.
I expect Drafted merch in return. No, I'm kidding.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. That's
we
fair.
will trade.
All right. Let's before we get to the drafts, first, we have our trivia question of the week.
Okay, I'm just assuming that In post-production, they put that's it. We're
Is
good.
there music or something? Is that what
Yeah,
we're
Dale and I
waiting for?
just sat here in awkward silence for 10
There's music.
There was music. You guys didn't hear
Oh my
the music?
god.
No,
You
there's
don't
no
hear
music.
music.
I guess producer
This is
Sue just
live.
left you all out of the cold. All right. So, Daniel Prentice was at one point like probably one of the most knowledgeable people on the planet about Ultimate. Now he's just a filthy casual.
I'm washed.
Preston
It's
worked
fine.
at Ultiworld. That's as far as
Yeah, you don't need the prereqs.
And
It's fine.
Okay.
Preston
no,
was the
no,
one most willing to run to the grocery store at midnight. Yes.
We'll take you. Hey, you were an important part of bringing one of my favorite Ultiworld traditions that I'm still trying to keep alive, which is Klondikes at the house. You were that is a Preston legacy moment. Okay. So today's trivia question. I got 3 rounds of this for you. I'm going to give you 4 Ultimate players. In each round, one of those 4 players did not win a Callahan award.
Are
You
Preston
guys
and I
could find.
collaborating or competing here?
What do you think, Charlie?
I think we should compete.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
I think
Honestly,
we should all write down our answer on like a piece of paper and then hold it up to the screen. How's that sound?
Okay, hang on. I'll have to get a pen for that real quick.
So will I.
Oh, it's live. We got to wait
It's
for
2024. The man doesn't have pens around.
All right, so I'm going to give you our first set coming from the men's division. So these are the 4 players: Eli Friedman, Jack Williams, Dylan Freechild, Josh Zipperstein. Write down, folks, which one of these 4 did not win the Callahan.
Can you say them again?
Those are Eli Friedman, Jack Williams, Dylan Freechild, and Josh Zipperstein.
This is really just going to expose the filthy casualness. All of this information has been pushed aside for different things in the last 5 years.
I feel very confident about this, actually. Well, okay, now I'm feeling less confident after bragging about how
I'm
confident
pretty
I was.
confident, but I'm not 100%
Immediately-
confident.
Yeah,
Talk yourself out of it.
I'm at like an 85, I want to say.
All right, are we all good? Are we all ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to
Hold
hold
up.
your answers or just to prove
Hold
them?
up.
If no one's going to be able to see any of it, but the answer is Jack Williams, and all
Wow, we
3
all
of
got
them
it.
got it.
Nice.
So,
Incredible.
Jack Williams is did not win the Callahan.
Who won the year that
Could have been
he
harder if you
win
didn't
it?
do zip, because I was like, ooh, I'm pretty sure Jack didn't win, but I wasn't. I knew Eli and Dylan had won and zip,
yeah,
so
same.
that was why. I just
Same.
a process of elimination.
Jack's year was that
17?
Trent Dillon
16?
or John Stubbs? One of those two. I
Stubbs
think
here,
it was Stubbs who
Yeah.
won the
And the
legacy.
thing is, it was like Stubbs had an awesome year, and then Jack was amazing at nationals.
And Stubbs didn't make nationals.
Well, Stubbs
if I
didn't make
remember.
nationals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
that's
was-
right. That was
this
the
his
fraudulent
legacy
year that he
win.
won because
Legacy
of
win.
how he played the previous year.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Because he
that
had
was that was
great
that was
nationals
when we
game and it
all
carried
really
over
knew
a
deep
calendar
down
year.
that the Callahan Award didn't mean anything about the season that you were in.
Yeah.
Lifetime
All right.
Achievement Award.
Here's your next 4. We're going to the women's division. Jesse Schaffner, Claire Chastain, Paula Seville, Angela Zhu. One of these players did not win the Callahan.
This is a layup.
Can you give him to me again?
Uh-oh.
And can
Yeah, of
Daniel
course.
stop talking about
Jesse,
how
you
easy
already
things
know
are?
you're cooked, bro.
Jesse Schaffner, Claire Chastain, Paula Seville, Angela Zhu.
Okay. Yeah, I'm cooked.
Hold him up.
All right, let's see
3,
what
2,
we
1,
got.
go. Oh no, Preston.
Oh,
No,
Jesse
no!
Schaffner. One of the most
I,
famous snubs of all time.
the
I was
one-
worried.
Man.
the classic snubs.
Yeah. I was worried.
Marissa
that
Raptor's hand blocks were too good.
It was a great video.
It was.
I was worried that I reacted too quickly and that Preston was going to get the fact that
I noticed that.
started writing as soon as Keith
I
said
noticed
Schaffner. And I was like, oh, well, it's too late to kind of catch
I don't
myself
pay
now.
that good enough attention. I probably
All
should.
right. Okay, here's your next set.
God.
These are both, this is mixed, both divisions, but
Okay.
still just
Okay.
one of the players didn't win the Callahan. All right, you ready?
Mhm.
Nick Lance, Marissa Rafter, Leela Tennell, and Kurt Gibson. One of these 4 players did not win the Callahan. You got a lot of Southeast in there for you, Preston.
Like that helps, man. We didn't travel outside of the state.
Yeah, but that means there's a lot of players that you've seen. You were around in the area.
Oh, man.
It was percolating.
Okay.
Read them again
Yeah.
for the audience.
All
Read
right.
them again
Yes.
for the audience.
The options again: Nick Lance, Marissa Rafter, Leela Tennell, and Kurt Gibson.
I changed my mind at the last second.
That always works.
Yep.
Ready?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
What do we got, folks?
Hold 'em up.
I see Kurt Gibson, and Kurt.
Wow.
All caps. All right, y'all.
Clutch changed
Nobody fell
mind.
for it. I mean, I gave you basically two of the most famous snubs of all time. Maybe
Well, and we
three.
missed
I
the
mean,
first
this
one.
is three of the four most
Yeah.
famous snubs, I would say, in Callahan history. So I wanted to make it achievable for our guests. A little too easy, I think, for Daniel.
None of those Florida guys are winning any of that. Has a Florida player ever won Callahan?
Yes,
Probably
Tim
not.
Garrett.
Oh,
Tim
that's
Tim
right.
Garrett won it.
That's right.
But there you go. That's our daily trivia, folks. I know
Kurt
that
and
our
Brody were
audience
unbelievable
probably nailed it.
players,
Mhm.
and people just didn't like them enough.
The award is not just being a great player.
I know.
There's-
I know. I'm not trying to start an argument.
It's spelled
We-
out in the criteria. That's all I'm saying.
When did we just argue about Brody? Was that a
On
sub bonus?
Yes, the sub bonus talking about our Mount Rushmores.
Oh, we're talking about our Mount Rushmores of various parts of Ultimate,
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
and
Yeah, I was going to ask
Obviously-
what part was he on?
obviously on the college Ultimate Mount Rushmore, I had Brody Smith. He's probably the best
I think
college
that's
Ultimate
fair.
player of all time. Keith left him
And
off.
I left him off.
That's gr- if you want some spice, go listen to that sub bonus, folks. That's worth your
I gotta go
subscription.
People like it. People
right
like it.
there. I lit into Keith on this one.
It's great. Great stuff.
Um,
Great stuff.
Okay, it's time to do some drafts.
Let's
Keith,
do it.
what's our first category?
So I think the first one we have a couple different options, but I think let's go with let's get a little off the wall. We got the drafted guys on. Let's get a little wacky. We're gonna draft movie titles as Frisbee team names. So you got to take this. The movie will continue to exist. We're not erasing the movie from existence. You're taking on this movie's title as your team name, and you have to. So it's like you have to pick from existing movie titles. This club season, the theme is movies, and your team has to be branded after a movie. So what movie titles will we pick? Drafted. I'm going to trust y'all to use your classic methodology to arrive at our draft order.
I thought we were already given our draft order.
We were given the draft order, Keith.
Okay, what is it? What do
Yeah,
got?
and we planned
The
around
audience
it, so
isn't-
don't you dare
hasn't
change
given
it.
Well, the audience needs
I have to assume that our good friend Lindsay Sue consulted random.org the way Drafted always determines our draft order. But they said that for draft one, it's Keith, Charlie, and then the Drafted Boys draft
The
all
boys.
collectively. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going first, I guess. Wow, that's an incredible pressure when I have an almost infinite set of options.
Yeah, don't worry. It's just
So-
all movies, Keith. It's just every movie ever made.
Yeah, that's not easy. That's hard. This is really hard. Okay, so I'm gonna resist the temptation. There's part of me that's tempted to draft a fairly recent movie, which is The Killer, only because teams like Shame have made it popular to troll us with weird names that are annoying to write. So this name, The Killer, which is missing the I in it, it just has a blank spot. Imagine us trying to say that, Charlie, on a podcast, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to take the troll name, even though I think people would like that. So I'm going to try and take something that is, I think, both cool and attached to a movie people think is cool. It has a lot of cultural relevance. I'm going to take Seven Samurai as my first pick here.
Wow.
I'm going to go for the 7 alignment with the 7 players in the line. I'm taking a movie that's incredibly highly regarded, is super iconic, and has spawned a lot of other movies after that. I'm going to take Seven Samurai as my first pick here.
How did you
Also,
actually
it's
snipe
truly a
us?
great. No way! No
First pick
way!
snipe?
Yeah.
With all movies ever created, he took one immediately off our board.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you were, Dan. I was certainly going to take that if it was there in the first round.
Also, great. I love Seven Samurai, so that helps too.
God.
There's no better feeling than drafting and sniping somebody's pick.
Yeah, no,
it is
it
better
is
than
true.
winning.
This name is maximized, I think, as like the nickname of the Japanese national team.
Yeah, so like you want to get it contextualized.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I that wasn't like part of the context, but of course that's where my brain went, like, maximizing these team names. I feel like we need more of that. Like Australia has all of their nicknames for all their different team names, but I want like the international soccer where every single nation has their
We were
Is their
International
thing? Is their like nickname? Their
Prentice, we
That's
were
a good
texting about.
idea.
We texted about this. Does the U.S. need team names? Maybe that.
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
that'll. Maybe we need to come up with that. Maybe that's the sub bonus. We need to come up with something, and USAU cannot do it because it will be so lame. It'll be like
grit,
American
grace,
Eagles,
Oh god.
hashtag
Oh
legitimacy.
my god!
which is my college team. American
The
Eagles.
USA Grit men's team took down.
Oh no!
That's cringeworthy. That is terrible.
No.
Who's next? Sorry, is it me or is it draft?
It is
It's
you,
you.
yeah.
It's me. All right. I'm gonna go. I have a bunch of things that so I'll hold off on my other thought here because I don't want to give away a potential pick late in the draft. How many rounds are we doing? We haven't even set the ground rules.
That's
So
fair.
everybody knows that we're doing
Yeah, we
We'll pick
just kind of jumped straight in.
four rounds, right?
Four
Seems
rounds.
fair.
We don't host drafts, so we don't know about the machinations of how
You guys aren't built for
this.
6. You're not built for 6. 4 is good.
All right. I'm gonna go with Spirited Away.
Okay.
Tremendous movie.
It is a good movie.
We have
One of my all-time favorite movies.
we have obviously some connectivity to the sport itself. And I sort of like the way the phrase sounds. It would certainly be a different team name than we're used to having in Ultimate, and I have some sort of more classic picks. But I just feel like it sounds really nice, and for the right team would be an excellent name that, has the kind of vibes that you want from a team name.
Is
I
this
don't
on
like
your
it
list?
at all. I don't like
Okay.
it. No.
It feels try hard to me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being a
Unlike
little
Seven
aggressive.
Samurai, interesting.
Okay,
Well, I think Daniel's context of it really helps that it's like,
Yeah.
not an American thing. This feels like, I don't know, this feels a little try hardy.
I think the great fit here is a Masters team from a program that is
Like a Florida men's
like a
Masters team.
Florida Masters team, like a team that
Exactly.
people think has bad spirit, and now they're spirited away.
Okay.
And like you could take it in a
Spirited
negative
away.
way.
You
Like
could that's
we've
kinda
completely
why I
gotten
liked
rid
it.
of the spirit,
Okay.
or it's the other way where we're so spirited it'll blow you away.
It's a combination of, double wide and 40 United retirees spirited away.
There you
I
go.
think
I like it.
it only works for some like the worst spirited team in whatever.
Yeah.
division
It needs
that
to
could
be.
I
It needs
think.
to be a troll. Well, I mean,
Yes.
you could argue that basically is true of all team names. That like the more earnest they are, the more they need to be connected to a team that is like the opposite of that.
Sure.
But we shall see as we go through this. You guys are up.
Yeah, I hated that pick initially, but then with the thought of it being ironic, I'm back on board. All right, so Preston and I are going to alternate picks. So I'm just going to trust my guy to make the right picks on his own when it's his turn. He said he wanted me to go first. This one can work literally or ironically. I'm going to go. It has to be a men's team here. 12 Angry Men.
Oh, damn it! I had that on my list.
I think
great.
I think it's equally funny, honestly, if it's like you're a tiny team and you have 12 players in your team, or if you don't and there just is no connection whatsoever to the number 12. I think I like it either way.
The number being just a random number is like
That was one of my
it
hesitations.
causes so much pain to me. It's just like a total out of thin air number. Yeah, I can't. It's just wrong.
Are there mixed teams that would have 12 male
No.
matching on a roster? That's not the right number.
I
is
mean,
it?
you can't have a mixed team and name your team after only the male players.
Oh, I mean, irony. You can just do whatever now.
It does
Oh,
seem
boy.
like a circumstance where a really good team has had half their flights get canceled because of a storm and they show up with just 12 guys and they're like, we're changing our name for this weekend so that none of the results count against,
Yeah.
Rhino or whatever it is. Yeah, it could work. Okay. What you guys are forgetting, you ultimate insiders, is that at its heart, Ultimate is a very funny and stupid sport. It's what you remember when you truly quit and then try and rejoin later. So I'm going to go with Hot Fuzz. I think it works on several levels, but I'm going to let you guys describe them for me.
What a play. What a power move.
You know what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
just think about
everybody gets it. But for the audience, somebody else
I'm
take
trying
it.
to imagine it as a team name.
It feels like two random words.
Yeah, it's 100% like an old-timey college team name
Mm-hmm.
that
Mhm.
like just was
Yeah,
thought up
no,
in the
this-
80s by some weirdos and it's stuck ever since.
Right. It's bad in that sense to me. It's like this is
No,
No, it's
is
great. It's the
not
best
what
of
we
us. It's
This
the
is
best
a
of
D-
us.
This is some like D3 team that hasn't gone through their name change phase yet. Like they're like still stuck on their Origins name, and then they're like, "Oh God, we have to get rid of this." This is
No.
like-
See, I think these names you get away with them depending on the caliber of the program, right? Either you're like a jokey team that barely makes regionals, or you've just been really good for decades, and so no one can come for your name anymore.
Yep,
I think it really works really well for either of those situations.
totally.
I'm out here for it.
Hot Fuzz is a constant semis team. Constant. Year in, year out.
Probably at D3 though, in fairness.
And probably mixed somehow. Yeah.
I guess Carl. If I attach it to Carlton,
Yeah.
I can start to see it.
Carlton Hot Fuzz. Yeah.
I mean, they have the hot
Absolutely.
Carls.
Or
So-
Yeah.
Middlebury or something.
I'm gonna stay in the realm of that title in a way.
Okay.
Oh, nice. See,
And
that
this
was
is
right.
probably not going to be one that was on people's lists, but I just think it works. It is literally a team name of the women's division. Like you could imagine it 100%. And the word and the title is Heat.
Mm.
That's wow. You sniped one of mine.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Just Heat. Name a city. Doesn't matter. It'll work. It sounds
Miami.
good for any team.
Anchorage.
Miami. Okay. All right.
Oh,
Northern
that's-
Winnipeg.
It's still good. It's still good.
Halifax
Jaw.
Heat.
I had
Okay,
It kind of hits though, right?
It kind of hits now. This is why it was on my list. This was literally the first movie I wrote down. I wouldn't say it's the top of my list, but it was the first movie I thought of.
And it just,
I mean,
it just
it
sounds
it is a
good.
sports
And it's
team
great
name
movie.
already. It's
Huh?
already a team name. It's like,
Honestly,
you know,
That's
I
true.
would be
Yeah,
shocked
it's been
if
market
this has
tested.
not been a club team name at some point already. Like
I bet it has.
it probably
somewhere.
has, which is not disqualifying in any way. It's still a good. It's just a good pick. It's just fits.
You're up, Keith.
All right, I get back to backs here, and I don't know. I'm going into this not knowing what I'm going to do with my second pick, but I do know what I'm going to do with my first pick. And we have picked like the five movies that precede my pick are all like fairly high quality movies. Hot Fuzz maybe is like the least critically regarded of them, but I think it's still a good movie. But the
Still
other
great.
ones, these are like freaking classics, right? I'm going the other way. I'm going to talk about a movie that has no cultural footprint really at all. But I think people will recognize the title. And I think it's particularly apt for a mixed team. I'm going with Project X, which was a, like, I want to say this is made by MTV Films, or it was about the weird, like the house party, right? Like the kids trying to throw a crazy house party, I'm pretty sure.
It was of a particular era of like MTV style party gone
Yeah.
wrong movies. Yes.
And like, yeah, they've tried to have the crazy house party and everything goes too crazy. Like they lose control of the situation. But I think that the name has a certain like a air of mystery to it a little bit, but it also has kind of a coolness, like experimental factor. You get the X for the mixed division. So I'm going with Project X as my pick in the second round while I try and figure out which movie I'm going to pick for the third round.
It seems like Two on the Nose is a mixed team name. I don't know.
yeah, they're almost. There's got to be a Project X mixed team somewhere, right?
I could
Somewhere,
Seems
somewhere in the
possible.
country. It's
I'm
very.
I'm willing to bet that everything except for Spirited Away has been in somebody's team name at some point. I
Yeah,
don't think
true.
Spirited Away has, but the rest of the things that we've said, I don't know if that's gonna dissuade me.
I think the crowd went mild with that pick.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think I've landed on what I'm gonna do with my last pick.
Is it just this? Isn't this your third pick of 4?
Oh, we have 4. That's right. Fourth round. I was thinking we were doing 3 because we have done these mini drafts before. And I think we did 3 rounds. All right. I'm going to go with Heathers as my next pick.
That's good.
I don't know. There's a certain both the nature of that film itself and the way people think about it feels like it fits the sense of humor of Ultimate. But it also it feels like it could fit for a team, like that attitude that comes with Heathers. So I'm really, really latching on to the nature of the film itself. But it also, I think, has it doesn't sound too weird. It's not like a mouthful title that totally sounds ridiculous. And I think you could get ironic with it if you happen to have enough Heathers on the roster. But as is, I think it stands up. I'm going with Heathers as my third pick.
It definitely sounds right. Sounds correct.
I wouldn't be shocked if there was a small liberal arts women's team in the Northeast that had the nickname Heathers. Would not shock me in the slightest.
Yeah, and it's like what they called their original croquet team back in the 19th century or something, and they just took that name. Yeah, totally makes sense.
I like that one, Keith. That was.
I like it too. I think
nice
it just
rebound.
sort of sounds interesting as a team name.
Mm-hmm. You'd always have to wear heather colored jerseys. So
oh yeah, you get heather patterned jerseys. Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Absolutely. All right. I'm hesitating on this pick. I just don't know. I don't know how the people are going to feel about it.
Follow your heart.
Got to jump in with both feet.
I'm going to take a safer pick first. I'm going to go with Vertigo.
Oh, another snipe.
Let's go.
Another snipe. My goodness.
I'm almost positive that is a real one. Not that that's just my
you get everything right. You have the spinning concept with the disc, and it sounds good, especially with the right city name. It would really work well. The idea of making your opponents feel it, it just works in a lot of levels, and it's just a nice sounding word, so it works well as a team name. I just think it's a slam dunk all around.
You've got good could have already existed teams going so far. You've not gone outside the box yet, though.
Spirited Away, I'll admit it was maybe a bit of a reach especially for the first round, but I've gotten the picks that I wanted so far for the most part.
Yeah.
This is a team. There is a team, but it's in the Netherlands. Eindhoven is where to go. But I still feel, to me, it feels like a team that has existed in the past, when I'm looking through the annals, but I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It
Good
just
pick.
very
Great
much.
Great pick.
Yeah, if you're just going for bang on the nose, I think of the things that have been picked, this is the most actual Frisbee name so far.
I kind of agree with that.
I don't know if we're giving points for creativity or how the people are going to vote, but if you're just going for pragmatic, realness, that's the best pick so far.
I think so.
Appreciate it. I'm a professional.
Yeah, very.
Okay. All
right, you guys have your back-to-back last 2 picks coming up here.
Yeah, we'll keep with our order, Preston, me, and then you. Is that fine?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go with something that is maybe a little conventional for a Frisbee name in terms of being a real sports name, but I can't think of any actual sports teams that are named this, which is actually kind of weird. I'm going to go, and there's a similar, shout out Keith and his roots. There's a similarly named youth team. I'm going Aliens.
That's another snipe. Sniped off my list.
Nice. Well done, Dan.
Thank you.
I was thinking about whether to pick the plural or the singular.
I did the same, but I definitely leaned plural just for more conventional naming mechanisms.
I was very close to picking that last round. I mean, this is the first time someone picks something I was really about to pick.
Nice. That feels good.
It, of course, is very close to the ATLians.
Yes, that's what I was alluding to.
Yeah. You get a very cool design language you can use here. Get some cool color concepts, some logos and things like that. Just very menacing looking, green and black kind of thing. Very cool.
It also
I'm
sets
into
up
it.
for very like recognizable branding, which is
True.
very lacking in Ultimate.
Also true.
Yeah.
The Roswell aliens.
Yes.
There
Do
you
they
go.
play any Ultimate? Liz, my wife just gave a thumbs up, so she's a fan.
Let's go.
Hey, Liz, what do you think of Spirited Away?
Oh God! Don't look for validation here. You're not going to find it.
Say it again. She said it was an odd first round pick.
Yes, because Liz is a normal person with ears. Yes.
That was a kind way of telling me it was a terrible pick.
Shout out Liz.
Aliens, I like.
Thank you.
Austin Aliens. You know,
I think it's I do think Preston made a great point about the design options it gives you. I do think it's a little boring, to be honest, but the movie's so cool that like you get the attachment with the franchise, which helps a lot.
It feels boring at first until you think of there are no major sports franchises that have actually gone this route, which I kind of find surprising, right?
Mm-hmm.
and think of the Sellies,
No.
you know.
What
Burst
about
out
like
of the
the
teammate's
Monstars?
stomach.
The Monstars are probably the closest thing.
All right, y'all have another one.
Yep. Take us away, Preston.
Well, I seem to be left holding the bag for all of the team names that are like closer to hat tournament, which is very fine. This is where I eat. I'm happy about it. Going with a really great recent Nick Cage flick. I'm going with The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I think it makes a great hat tournament name.
The
Really
club
rolls off the
national
tongue.
championships. I'm Evan Lepler. What is the
Winning the
team?
Spirit Award. Winning the Spirit Award in 2025. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Oh boy.
I don't even feel like I have to say anything. Like I feel like
And the unbearable weight of massive talent takes the lead. This is like so brutal.
Oobwat. That's how it appears on the tickers. Oobwat.
It speaks for itself. I don't think we even need to discuss it.
All right, I got my last pick. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm taking the pick that I think is risky. By the way, I am leaving just seven on the board. I think it's still a good name and arguably I think better than Seven Samurai. I like the fact that there's a 7 in the name, which of course like we've seen teams do that. But I don't think I can pick it. It's too derivative of Keith's pick. So I'm leaving it on the board. I'm going with Up.
Wow. Threw this out as a joke in the green room.
yeah,
And you
I
ran
didn't
with
see
it.
this coming.
I think if you think about it for a little bit longer than just like the obvious thing, I think it works as a team name.
It definitely has the
Again,
most
White City.
annoying cheers of any team that we've talked about so far, where they just scream up over and over again.
Yep.
I think it's very dependent on what the like preceding part of the name is. Like where
I agree with
they're
that.
from. I think you have to go like full name for Up. I think.
Mm.
What if you were University of Portland, so you were up?
I mean,
The up.
they are
Yippee up.
uproar, right?
They are uproar and uprise or something like that.
Yeah.
To
got-
me, it dies out fast. This wears out its welcome. The up name. I appreciate that you're taking a risk though. I can get down with that.
All right, Keith, last one.
Oh my gosh, how do you follow up The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent? That really
You can't do it.
changed the tenor
You cannot
of the
do
conversation. I feel like. What do I have to do? I have to pick Cocaine Bear next? Like, is that what?
Bad
where I have to
Santa.
go?
I can't believe I forgot about Cocaine Bear. I totally would have taken Cocaine Bear.
I did really want to work a Christmas movie into this somehow, but I just couldn't reasonably do it. It just wasn't there.
Is Johnny Tsunami just too derivative? of
You could
Johnny
get away
Bravo?
with Bad Santa, right? Like if you were a Santa Rosa team or
I
you know,
guess.
Santa Monica team.
What if
Maybe
you're
as like a party tournament for a weekend or something. I don't
Yeah.
think it's a club team name.
What if you're playing against Classic Revolver? Can you beat Bo Is Afraid? Just for that game? just for the one game. Okay. I think where I'm gonna go here. I think I'm gonna lean in a kind of classic style of Ultimate Name in the women's division. I think I'm gonna go with Lady Bird. Especially obviously if you're from Sacramento. I actually just think it sounds cool.
I think
Like, it just-
I like this
Yeah.
pick. I like this.
It just
pick.
has a good
I think
vibe
it's
to
great.
it. So I'm just gonna let it sit there. Like I don't feel like I have to do much to gussy this up. I think
That's
it's
a great pick.
Has a good pick.
Great
Yeah,
pick.
it's really good.
It is.
It's the rare too, like it's not plural, which makes it better.
Mhm.
Right.
Ladybirds is worse.
You guys had
subjectively.
aliens sitting right there just to let you know that.
No, that's worse. That's worse.
Yeah,
That doesn't count.
I don't think it works for Alien.
Yeah,
It does work better for Lady Bird, though, for sure.
totally.
All right. Let me run down the full pick list here. Keith drafting first goes with 7 Samurai, Project X, Heathers, and Ladybird. Drafted goes with 12. Oh, I should do mine second, I guess, because I went second. I went with Spirited Away, Heat, Vertigo, and Up. And drafted went with 12 Angry Men, Hot Fuzz, Aliens, and the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
We're having the most fun. We're having the most
For sure, we're
fun,
having
even
the
if we
most
don't
fun.
get the most points.
Yeah. I think these are 3 good teams here, though.
Very good teams of teams.
Any
Yeah.
sense on the Drafted podcast that you guys host, you debate amongst yourselves who won the
Mhm.
draft, yes?
We do.
Thoughts? You guys
Well,
have a
this is
lot of
tough.
experience here.
It depends on how seriously the listeners take this draft. I honestly think the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent could get a lot of picks depending on how ironic people want to be, which I feel good about. I think like pure face value, I think I'm leaning Keith here.
Yeah, I do think anyone who's trying to have a good time is coming with us. I don't think people are going to get where we concluded on Spirited Away. They'll just hear the initial title and they'll be like, But like where we ended, I thought was fine. It's a fine team name, but yeah.
I think if we could do it again, we would draft very differently. I feel
Let's
like
just do it again.
Our round
Let's
one
just run it
picks,
back.
our round one picks were 7 Samurai, Spirited Away, and 12 Angry Men, and those are terrible picks.
You
Like,
think so?
I basically think they're bad across the board.
I don't think
Wow.
so.
But I like our third round picks, which were Heathers, Vertigo, and Aliens. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I still like
I always
Seven
had a
Samurai.
plan.
I'm having trouble deciding like which team I like the best because I think like Vertigo and Heat are 2 of my favorites, and Up and Spirited Away are 2 of my least favorites. While Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is extremely good, like easily one of the best 3 names that we came up with here. But I'm not that into Hot Fuzz and 12 Angry Men, so like I have trouble deciding exactly what the weighting is. I think I would go Drafted between the 2 of you guys' teams, but I'm happy with my team.
Well, we're going to put it up for a vote. So everybody, you can put your votes in the YouTube chat if you want, or check out our social media and pick your favorite amongst our 3 teams. Let's move on. We have another mini draft coming up right now. Keith, what is the category of our second draft?
All right. Well, we went off the wall. Now we're gonna go back to a classic, a standby, a discussion every team has had in a car ride or at a post-turn or pre-tourney stretching circle. We're gonna pick athletes from other sports to make our super ultimate teams. Everybody loves this. We've all been there. So we sat down and made our lists. We're gonna pick 2 male matching players, 2 women matching players each. To come up over 4 rounds to come up with our super teams that we're teaching to play ultimate.
No
These are
limitations on when you do your draft picks, right?
No.
No, you can.
I don't think so.
As long as you
No,
end with
there's
2
not-
and 2, you're good.
Right.
Okay.
And these are the current form of these athletes. We're not picking throughout history. We're not picking these players at their prime. You're picking right now who's out there, and you're signing them up.
Okay.
Well, Sue-
What's our
Should
draft
we
order
flip
this
the
time?
draft order?
Well, so Sue gave it to us already, and it's drafted boys first, then Keith, and then Charlie.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's different for all of us, right? We're all in different
That is true.
spots. Preston, why don't you take the first pick this time?
Okay. Well, there was some deliberation on the drafted team here that sort of amounted to me not knowing ball, which is fine. This as so often happens with drafted. It was something I never claimed to know, but still feel bad that I got shamed for. But I think keeping it simple here and taking the obvious choice with Asia Wilson just makes too much sense. I'm not going to try and get too cute and think about, ooh, but like, did you hear about the sixth man from this one city that nobody's ever heard of before? And I'm like, no, don't get too cute. Just take best available, call it a day, go home.
I mean, I don't know what she was the top of my women matching side picks. Easy snipe. Keith says no. Keith's got another idea in mind.
I'm going for the deeper cuts.
No. I think you're just straight up wrong if you're going with a deeper cut in the WNBA. I'm sorry.
I'm just being a hater, but
you're clearly just wrong. Like, she's insanely athletic and tall, like, and the best player.
Height is a big thing. So, like, height is a huge thing.
She's very skillful.
Skills crazy, and not like just like, you know, clunky big, like skill big. I don't know, Keith. I think it was a pretty clear.
I mean, I think if I had to take like superstar big, I would rather have Elena Del Don, but you know, or maybe Stewie. I messed with the Connecticut, but yeah.
Come on, man. 5 years ago, maybe.
Stewie's like that. Stewie's like hitting all the bushes, like coming in off the wing, like running the offense. Come on,
building a team kind of for the future
and skill.
Asia just had the best season of all time by like a lot. You're crazy. Anyway. You're reaching. You're stretching too hard right now.
I don't. Well, I
can
something
really quick. We are not. I feel like we should set some other slight ground rules. Is it just like this person gets to train for a long time to get good at Ultimate, or are we saying they're playing where the conversation ends, kind of a thing? You know, I think it should just be like they get to have fully trained in Ultimate.
Well, I think it should be like you get like a month. Like
I was going to say like a summer. Like you pick them up in May for club championships.
I'll give you. I want the, you know, if you have some skill, I want to reward skillfulness and ability to like pick up a game.
Fine. So we'll say they're on the team June 1st and they're playing at club nationals, and that's when you're evaluating their performance.
I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
This makes me think of how I really liked when I brought up the question of like if you could take like an elite athlete, but they only got like we talked about. But they had to play in like semis right now. Like, would you do it? Kind of
they get 6 hours. Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
We have little glimpses of when like truly elite athletes play Ultimate and they dominate.
Yeah, they eat.
Completely dominate. Cammie Groom's sister is in the NWSL, and
but if you were, I just thought it was an interesting thought. Would that if you had to pick up that person and like they had warm-ups to learn Ultimate and you had to play in semis at club nationals, would you take them?
Yeah, I think elite defensive players you could put onto the field and immediately shut down other players. Immediately.
I don't know, man. Totally. Being able to read a disc is like not simple.
I know, but they would figure it out. They get burned once and then they'll be like, oh, I just got to jump earlier and I'll destroy this person.
And you just confine what they're having to do.
Yep.
Like it just, you know, defender on fastest cutter. That's all you need. Like, hey, Jamar Chase, go cover their fastest cutter and just, you know, we'll do the offense. Who cares?
Okay. All right. My first pick, I gotta go with one I know. I gotta stick to the sports I know. And I'm just gonna take the freakiest athlete I feel like we could think of right now. And I think I'm just gonna take the 7'5" kid. I'm taking Wemby.
Yeah.
They're just for somebody that size to be that mobile with that kind of wingspan. With I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it on the show. I did when I was coaching at Georgia Tech. I had a friend who played on the basketball team there. He was dating one of the players. 7 feet tall, and he picked up some Ultimate and he played, and like, you know, he wasn't like a tremendous athlete or whatever, but he was super tall. He had some trouble reading the disc. But one of the things people don't think about when you are 7 feet tall is how big your hands are. It makes dropping the disc really difficult. And like, you could just, it's crazy what a person with gigantic hands could do. He could palm a disc. It's wild. I'm taking Wemby. He's the huge hands, gigantic wingspan. He's super mobile. He's agile. He's flexible. He's young. Yeah, I just want him because he's so different than everybody else you're going to be able to get your hands on. Like, even if you get your hands on another NBA player who's 7 feet tall, like there isn't even one of those like him. So
my only pushback, and he's on my list, and I may well have drafted him, but my pushback is that raw athleticism is not really his thing. Like, I don't feel like he's super fast. he's undeniably skilled, especially for his size. And maybe I'm just underestimating like how insane it is that he's 7'5" and skilled. And like that is just enough. And that might just be enough. But I feel like there are other very tall, similar players in the NBA who are more like raw athletic that translates a little bit better to Ultimate.
Well, I mean, I get the
especially
temptation
to get
pick
3
Giannis,
months to pick it
but
up. Yeah, I'm going there. I'm going that way. I'm
also,
picking him too, so I might as well make my pick.
If you've ever seen Wemby mess around with a soccer ball, you start to see some of the dexterity and the agility. Like that's there.
I mean, I'm not trying to say he's not an incredible athlete. Just like that, like explosiveness is not necessarily the thing that jumps off
more
the page.
glidey. Yeah,
I'm taking Giannis.
From what I understand, Wemby's such a freak because he is that size and can still have the technical skills.
Yes,
to
he can
shoot
like
the three,
crossover.
Mid-range, crossover, great. These are all very basketball-specific skills, and now suddenly his freakishness doesn't become as valuable.
But it's the body movement required to do that he's able to do that players just lack the agility to do earlier, right? It's both that and the technical, physical skill to be able to maneuver his body in a way that's so controlled that he can do it despite his size. Previous players who were over 7 feet were kind of lumbering. They have slow feet. Right, that's the problem. This guy's doesn't have that problem.
But what do you lose by going from Wemby to Giannis on an Ultimate field? Like you lose some of his. I think. Okay, I'm like so talking out of school here, but you lose some of the 3-point shot, right? I feel like you lose things that don't matter as much. And with Giannis, you gain a little bit more like stature. You gain some more stature, and I think he's faster. He just seems faster.
Exactly.
So I just feel like it's an upgrade when you only have 5 months to learn. Now, grant a lifetime of Wemby playing Frisbee, I think might end up better than Giannis, but you get a summer.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I'm also getting the French factor. Are you guys tracking how French Ultimate is these days? Right, I'm getting some French in there. Come on. All right, you keep Giannis.
French factor is strong.
So Giannis is my first pick. I think it speaks for itself. He's 6'11". Is not skilled, right? Is not a great shooter. Is not good at a lot of.
He's a pretty good ball handler and passer.
He's
pretty good, but like what he is insane at is just blowing by you from the 3-point line in 2 steps and dunking on your best player. Like that level of just raw skill and pure athleticism would just be completely unstoppable within about a week of Ultimate practice. He would be you would have no chance. Who guards him? Wemby, I guess.
Well, I would say defensively, I'd much rather have Giannis too. I think.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, same.
On the field.
Yeah, I think you guys are underrating
physically
Wemby's feet. Wemby's got quick feet. He can move. He guards.
He seems like a stiff wind.
He's quick in like a basketball way. I don't know if I see him being as good on the open field. It's an interesting one. This is going to be debated. By the chat.
Anyway. We don't need to just sidetrack into this, but what else you got?
I have another pick. I'm a little thrown off because I was sort of thinking that the players were going to have time to actually like learn. And I might still take this player, but it's much riskier because I'm thinking about taking somebody who I project as being a thrower more than like just a raw athlete type. So I'm going to sit on that pick for now. I'm going to take Tyreek Hill. Pure route running, explosive cutting, impossible to stop so fast. And I just think like could easily play defense. I mean, is playing offense because it's a more valuable position to play, basically. But like clearly could be an incredible defensive back, which translates instantly into Ultimate. I think I was debating, like, do I want to take a D-back or do I want to take a wide receiver? Because I think they both translate well into Ultimate. And I chose receiver because I think generally they're just going to be more athletic, more skilled for the most part. And that's why they ended up in receiver role. So there you go.
I always wonder about this because to me, I feel like cornerback is the most difficult position to play other than quarterback because of that brain stuff you have to be able to process. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to give away like where we're leaning with our picks, but to me, I feel like if you can play corner, like the reacting ability is more difficult than the, being able to run a route really well ability. But maybe I just don't know football well enough to be able to say that definitively. But I mean, I'm not going to knock Tyreek as a pick. He's an unreal athlete too. So
I just think you're more naturally able to slot, let's say in this 6-month span of whatever they're trying to train up for, throws are just not coming, which we've seen happen time and time again for everybody. They just can't figure out a throw. Like a defender's who you want at that point, somebody who still can contribute to the team. I feel like Tyreek Hill's like, he's an offensive player. And like, I don't know, that's not a lot of time to get somebody. I mean, just back him, just force him under.
He'll be fine.
Okay.
He's also,
you could, like, how much faster than the fastest Ultimate player ever do you really need? Because you could trade some of his speed for a little bit more height
speed
and
kills.
Probably be a little bit. Yeah, but like you could already take any NFL wide receiver and have the fastest player on the field. Wouldn't you rather have like a taller one too?
Yeah, I
gotta be honest,
you could say take a DK Metcalf or
right, and I feel like
Jefferson.
you're getting all the things Tyreek gets you, and you're not winning
but
some more in the speed.
I already have Giannis on my team. I don't need another huge guy.
I also, if I'm being honest, I think Tyreek is still jumping out the gym and
he's obviously
most.
Gonna be.
It's definitely true. But Daniel, I'm trying. Okay,
I just looked up his stats from the. Is this from the combine? Probably. Yeah. 40.5 inches, which is unbelievable.
We have to stop thinking about like how would Tyreek Hill do playing at Carolina kickoff or Florida warm up. It's how's Tyreek Hill gonna do against a bunch of other NBA, NFL, WNBA, MLS. Yeah. Like
so is that the context? Are our teams playing against each other?
I think that should be more what we're thinking here is how are you going to compete with other elite athletes? Because we're still picking the best of best. But I'm not either. I'm not saying
he
he
literally
won't be
goes up against the world's most athletic defensive
I'm not
backs
saying that he won't win his matchups. I'm just saying that like I don't think like, oh well, Dan from Summer League is going to be covering Tyreek, so it doesn't really matter if he backs him because Dan can stand in the end zone. Tyreek's running past him.
I just like when I was thinking of NFL receivers, my brain went to pure like route runners instead of just like, oh, I'm just going to run by you. But I think you're probably right that just run by you also works pretty well.
I'll give a quick little anecdote. I'm pretty fast, especially when I was in my peak playing shape. I was definitely one of the fastest players on my team pretty much since I was younger. I mean, I won the Albuquerque 100-meter dash when I was in 8th grade. I'm not like elite athlete fast, but I'm fast. And I matched up with Milo Snyder when I was at NYU and he was at Columbia. And we were playing them probably at sectionals at the time, now conferences. And I was like, yo, this dude is like blowing the doors off me on like upline cuts. I had never experienced something like that playing like the bad college ultimate teams that we mostly played. And it just, you don't realize until you're playing against somebody like that who is extremely quick and fast, how like you just can't keep up. And that's what Tyreek Hill would do to basically everybody, including all of the players we're talking about so far. Can you try to imagine Wemby covering Tyreek Hill? It's not happening.
No, it's not.
No,
all right,
so
let's move on.
All right. I believe I'm up next, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna go to a sport that I have long said I think translates really well to Ultimate, and that's tennis. So I'm gonna take maybe one of the most, if not the most athletic player in tennis right now. I'm taking Coco Gauff as my next pick.
I like
strong, 5'9", incredible lateral movement. Just going to be an absolute monster on defense. Plus, the forehand and backhand motions of tennis are very similar to what you need to do to be able to throw a disc. I think the mechanics are going to be there. Serving is basically what you have to do to throw a hammer. I think launching a 60-yard hammer is not out of the question in day one of throwing for Coco Gauff. So I'm taking Coco Gauff as my first women matchup player, my second pick.
I would not have guessed she was that tall. That's surprising. Yeah, no, I agree. Tennis, like actual tennis ultimate pipeline, very real. So I can't knock it.
I've just immediately given up on this person we're drafting learning throws at all. Like I don't feel like it's enough time. It's enough time to make them a competent thrower where they're not a liability. But we've seen people play lifetimes that can't throw.
Yeah, but
I just don't think I think we're overestimating.
no, I think
Those
you're
people weren't
underestimating
athletes at this level.
Right. Yeah, I think you're
I guess that's
underestimating.
true. It's just like a
the innate
natural
skill.
gift, and they'll just learn it. I'm sure that's fine, but are they going to end up after that much time being the best thrower on the team, or the throws are why you're winning, or is it just safer to take a really excellent over the top athlete, and that's why they're
Here's the thing, though. I really disagree with you here, Preston, because if it is a case of our teams are playing against each other, then getting those players that are going to have, even if it's a minute difference of throwing ability against the other uber athletes
could
on
be
the
big.
field, yeah,
could be big.
Yeah, if you're not playing people that have the built-in throwing ability, I think that argument holds a lot less water.
Yeah, that's fair. If you're picking a tennis player, I really like this one too. She's just getting to everything.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't understand how tennis players cover the court. When I physically been on a tennis court, I got sandbagged by somebody who was like a friend of a player I was coaching. Who was like, "Hey, why don't you come play tennis with me?" And then we got out there, and she was like, "Oh, by the way, I came to the school to play varsity tennis, and then I quit, and then just started serving." And I was like, "How does anybody cover the width of the court when somebody's actually hitting a ball this hard? It's ridiculous."
All right, I'm about to make a pick that completely nullifies Charlie's Tyreek pick, because I do agree that while the basketball size is enticing, I do think you need a guy who's going to be able to lock up just pure speed, and there's no one doing that better in the NFL right now than Patrick Surtain II. Who I'm pretty sure
heart right now.
I'm pretty sure he played Tyreek, and didn't he absolutely lock him up a few weeks ago?
I believe he did
when they played. So
I was curious which I knew you were going to go corner, and I was like, who's he going? Is he going to say Patrick Surtain? Is he going to say Sauce Gardner? Is he going to say Jalen Johnson? Yeah. I was unsure which corner you were going to.
I cornerback measurement is difficult. It's one of the areas where the NFL probably is the most lacking in terms of data, but I think by most expert opinions, Surtain is having the best year of any corner. So
I think we would have
good years.
I think you could have picked
time.
any of them, and we all would have accepted that. Essentially, you could switch them, and I don't think anybody would have any difference in how they viewed your team.
But this is a scout pick now because he specifically played against Tyreek Hill a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So this works out pretty well.
Yep. Sorry, Charlie.
Damn it!
I think this like a corner,
I've been
a cornerback
specifically neutralized with one of my picks.
All right, you guys get back to backs.
Yep. Preston, you're up.
Well, Daniel's list tonight right now is pretty long. I could go a lot of different directions. I'm just going to have to trust myself and hope that he comes to back me up here. I think by taking a soccer player, you get a lot on the ultimate field we haven't quite talked about yet. I get these guys are the best athletes in the world, but you're still talking in the NFL. Pat Surtain covers for a couple seconds and he has done his job for the play. But the constant endurance, and we've talked about Wemby's speed might look a little bit different on a full-length field. Soccer's going to solve that problem. The person that immediately came to mind, knowing all that, is Trinity Rodman. Probably the fastest player on the U.S. women's national team right now, which makes her one of the fastest players in the world. Very skilled, great passer, great vision. I feel like it translates pretty well.
So explosive.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue with anybody who's great at their sport that they wouldn't also just be tremendously good at ultimate.
Yeah.
So I buy it. Sometimes wonder about more skill-ish sport. Because when you think about it, you can get away with being pretty unskilled in ultimate and still just dominating.
I got away with it for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, look at Bo. He might have the greatest career of all time. He might be one of, he's certainly a top 5 player ever in history, and he basically couldn't throw because he learned to do enough, crazy. And you can just hit the reset. It's not that big of a deal. So you take somebody who's really good at another sport, and they're just going to be tremendous.
I also think soccer translates pretty well in a lot of ways in terms of spacing
and cutting pattern.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is a player you would stick in a position where she's not going to get too far in the way, but she will just run her defender for the entire point. Be beginning of the game, this may look like an even matchup, but by the end, you are playing like it's your first point out there, and you are just gassing that person up and down the field. Just don't stop moving.
I think I've landed on something. I guess if everybody else is going to get a football player, I should get mine as well. I guess I don't really know. I should know. I have enough football coaches in my family that I should know about which is harder to play, receiver or corner. But I feel like receivers get paid a lot more, so it's probably better. But you know what, guys? Wait a second. What if I don't have to pick? What if there's a guy who's like the best at both? So clearly he's some sort of freak who understands the field. He sees the code of the Matrix in a way nobody else does. And he has infinite stamina because he can play entire games going both ways. Yes, I'm talking about Travis Hunter.
Oh God.
I am going to take somebody who, again, I'm looking for the freaks. This is somebody who's doing something nobody else is doing. And he's going to be, yes, I know he's still a college player. He's clearly an NFL level player. He's going to get picked really high in the draft, and he's going to be good wherever he goes. So like, I think he's going to be a top level NFL player very soon, and he's simply just not in the NFL yet. So
how often do D-backs get picked as Heisman finalists?
Yeah, that does.
Well,
I mean, it helps to have a gigantic offensive stat set.
Yeah, once every 20 years.
Yeah, which it did because he was a tremendous returner and played some receiver too. But yeah, I feel like this is a pretty unusual athlete.
Yeah, I'll always hate him because he spurned my Knowles on signing day in a really toxic way. So he'll always be dead to me.
I will say I'm taking on some potential spirit issues here.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think so.
But we all are with these football players.
Yeah, that's fair.
All of the players we have selected so far, great picks. It's hard to argue with any of them.
I mean, anybody who's getting paid to play an elite sport is doing pretty well on an Ultimate Field.
Is it my turn?
Your turn. You're back to back as well.
First up, maybe not a name that's going to be familiar to folks unless they are WNBA fans, but I'm taking Jordan Horston, super athlete.
Yeah.
6'1", I think. Was the number 2 player out of high school, already like on the all rookie team. Incredible skill and athleticism, is just going to be immediate mega impact player on the Ultimate Field.
Yeah, she's 6'2". My goodness.
Yeah, she's a crazy athlete. She's freaky. Yeah, she would fit in on my freaks lineup. This is on my list.
Freaks lineup. I like envisioning you as a coach with a clipboard, and you're just like, all right, freaks, onto the field.
Really taking freaks out
also,
here.
like, plays point guard, which I feel like is kind of like a translatable skill set for somebody to play as a good like handler type in Ultimate as well. That would obviously not be the natural position for someone with this skill set in an Ultimate team right now, but is going to understand how to move the rock.
Mm-hmm.
My final pick, I'm going to go with it, even though I think maybe you could make a case that I should go in a different direction. I'm going to the world of tennis as well. I'm going to take Arina Sabalenka, who's basically the best tennis player in the world right now and has the biggest forehand and like hits it harder than a lot of the men's tour. Like, massive forehand. And so obviously this pick makes a little more sense if you're talking about more lead time for being able to learn to throw. But I feel like somebody who can hit it that hard and get that much force into the disc / racket and put a lot of spin on the ball / disc, that she will probably learn to throw in a month, like a forehand. Like, you don't even have to learn how to throw a backhand. Just learn how to throw a forehand.
And she may not have like a particularly great like OI at 20 yards, but ask her to throw 80 yards and
easy.
It might just happen right away. You know, like it might take a few clicks and then it's like, oh, I get it. Boom. Here's the power.
She's known for like crazy good fitness. Yeah. And
most tennis players are
stout. Yeah. Like she just got a lot of things. It's like a kind of a very different pick from some of the other things you might choose, like really tall, super springy people. But just like, I think she could be one of the great handlers ever to play the game. And like would probably start picking up throwing very quickly.
Yeah, and you really just needed someone to boost it deep to Giannis, which you get here. So
That's a good point. I was going to make a bunch of arguments about like
a deep to hill.
touches.
Oh,
Touch on the ultimate field, like when you're throwing, is I think more important than just like, oh, I can juice it really far. However, you do have Giannis and Tyreek Hill, so it actually doesn't seem like touch is that important at all. Just throw it as far as the field will allow.
They just line up like it's an NFL line of scrimmage, and then we still score.
Yeah,
one route.
That's the trick. Is can you throw it where Tyreek Hill's still running when he catches it? Yeah, it's hard.
I suddenly have a harebrained idea.
Travis Hunter was not that.
I mean,
okay,
I was pretty sure I was going to pick Sidney McLaughlin-Levrone here, the incredible Olympic hurdler. I don't know. What if so I remember during the Olympics watching discus, and I think you're so used to the traditional discus thrower as being like very broad-shouldered, bulky individual, a lot of torque. That is not, I think, the future of discus. The people who are winning now are much more of the body type that looks more like an ultimate player, or soccer player, or basketball player, like definitely more svelte but strong. And there's Valerie Allman won the gold, and I was like, oh my god, like what? I don't know. Does it translate? I simply don't know. I'm not going to take the risk. Maybe it translates though. Maybe I'm missing out.
All of that was for someone you're not going to pick. All of that.
Okay, I'm thinking about it.
You should definitely take it.
Interesting.
Definitely take it, Keith.
Our thought come on, you're on a drafted podcast. Your thought process is an important part of the content.
Yeah, it's a great pick. Do it.
It's really hard. I'm also thinking about a goaltender, because I have my college experience playing with the women from our varsity soccer team came and played summer league with us, and goalies are really good at ultimate.
Yeah.
So
I was looking into that too. Yeah.
I'm very much thinking still about taking a goaltender, but I think
I have to say, in soccer it's a goalkeeper. Goaltender is hockey.
Goaltender's hockey.
Yeah, I immediately thought hockey when you said that. But
okay,
yes.
I'm gonna take McLaughlin-Levrone though. Sorry, Christiane Andler. I'll take Sidney McLaughlin-Levrone and just take like absolute powerhouse, speed, leaping, has it all.
Yeah.
I really should have tried harder to talk you into your discus pick. That would have been absolutely insane.
That would have been really bananas.
Look up Valerie Allman right now and tell me.
I don't really care. I'm sure she's fantastic at discus, but like you guys are just trying to find the people who are great disc golfers. Like everybody has drafted fantastic disc golfers today. And nobody's really thinking about an ultimate field. So yes, Sidney McLaughlin-Levrone is just
I think you should have done
automatically better.
I just looked up Valerie Allman, who I knew absolutely nothing about, and I am immediately certain that she would be an incredible ultimate player.
You didn't know what you were getting yourself into, did you?
All right. Final pick here. And I'm going to take my skillsy guy. And it's not a tennis player, but it's just a guy that hopefully you all will agree. I think it's still just going to work. He keeps getting older and is still this elite basketball player. He looks small on an NBA court, but he still makes it work. He's so shifty. He's going to be open for every single reset. And I just know his pure skill abilities and translate to being
Patty Mills. Wow, that's bold.
Throws. I'm taking
pick.
Patty Mills.
Oh my God. No, Dan, we talked about this. Please.
No, I'm going Steph Curry, who I think would just be good at any skill-based thing that he ever would try. Isn't he a scratch golfer as well?
Yes, he is.
Like just a freak. So that's where I'm going for my handler.
I happen to my Miles likes Steph Curry, and we were looking for videos to watch, and we watched him do some competition against Dude Perfect. I just want you to know that he lost a 3-point shootout where they had to shoot things that were not basketball. So maybe he's not that skilled. Maybe he's
could be a dud.
One of them was a disc. Okay, I actually didn't think of that until the moment I said this. One of the 5 objects that they had to throw, one was a basketball, one was a disc. They were throwing back.
Did he get a summer to prepare though, or did he show up?
No, they just walked in and just immediately
to take on guys that have made careers.
He lost to the Dude Perfect guy.
But Dude Perfect.
They've been throwing weird shit into other weird shit their whole lives.
Yeah. Like, come on, you can't be serious.
No, I mean Steph's. The aura tells you he's
Just
going to be a
keep
great
in
aura
mind
player.
that
alone.
Steph on an ultimate field, people will be like, "Oh shit, that dude's tall."
He's 6'3".
Yeah, I know, right? They'd immediately be scared.
Keith, you want to read up the lineups for us?
Yeah. Okay. So we'll do them in the order of which they were picked. So drafted first up, they have Asia Wilson, Patrick Surtain Jr. Is it Jr.?
The second, I believe.
The second.
second.
Trinity Rodman and Stephen Curry. I've got Victor Wembanyama, Coco Gauff, Travis Hunter, and Sidney McLaughlin-Laverne. And Charlie has Giannis Antetokounmpo, Tyreek Hill, Jordan Horston, and Arina Sabalenka.
No one picked Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
Good job, everybody. Would have been a bad pick. All right. Who won the draft? Who won the second draft?
There's no one's gonna have any.
It's really hard
I
to
think
make
the
a
margins
call.
are so slim, it's really hard to say.
Yeah, everyone's gonna pick their own team. And if I had to pick between y'all's teams, can I
think it's going to be a great game, I think.
Charlie trash talked me being like, "Oh, yeah, I wouldn't take Asia Wilson first." He's like, "Oh, you got to take the star first." They takes Jordan Horston. Great pick,
Yeah.
but not backing up the trash talk there.
Well, hang on a second. I would have taken Asia Wilson if I had the opportunity.
Right, but I don't understand why.
But
Why have you
was
then
Jordan
gone from
Horston your
eight-
number 2?
Yeah, right.
No, he took
On
her
WNBA
third round.
list, yes.
No, but you're number 2 on the entire
Right, but
WNBA.
you went-
You
you
have
went from,
Asia
like-
Wilson, Jordan
Not
Horston.
as a skill player in
and
basketball.
there are like 10 other superstars between there getting
Yeah,
Jordan Horston
I
or
understand.
whatever.
I'm taking an incredibly athletic player who I think would translate.
That's what
extremely
I would have
well.
done. Like I was ready to take Kennedy Carter or Brittany Sykes, but
Well, you didn't do
I was
it.
thinking Kalia Copper as the
Leah Copper is another
Just
good
like
one.
Clay Copper was on our list.
athletic freak who's got that absolute dog in her as well.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Fun stuff. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, good drafting, guys. That was a lot of fun.
Can we have
Yeah.
you back on for our subscriber bonus segment out the back? We want to do a bracket, not a draft. We're going to do a bracket of animals. The best. It's six
Just
animals.
And it's a period. Just
Six animals, the same
Wow.
type of animal, and you. And that's your team.
Doesn't it feel good to like have stupid ideas like this and then put them on a podcast? This is why Daniel and I continue to do our show.
Yeah, it's true.
It just
mean,
feels
we're-
fun.
Start
We're
thinking about
taking
it.
this one.
I will
We're
tell you
filing
right
this one
now,
away.
we are going to collapse down ape into a single
primate.
category.
Yeah.
Keith and I have discussed this.
Only
Otherwise-
one ape.
The apes will totally dominate, and we're going to be like Googling like how fast is a gorilla versus a chimpanzee. Like,
I think you shouldn't be allowed to take an animal with opposable thumbs.
so you
Okay,
think we
you
should
have to go
completely
elsewhere.
we should eliminate ape from the contest and not have
All
a
All
bracket?
thumbs. No thumbs allowed.
We'll find a list. We're gonna find a pre-established list of animals. I think.
Okay,
Yeah,
Fine.
that I think there was a list.
ape
on,
wins too easily. Maybe
Sports
Okay,
Illustrated
that-
last week about best
that's
animals to play Frisbee. We can just use that.
No, there's not. Okay. All right. Perfect.
You got him, though, Dan. You totally had him.
all right. So we'll do that. Thanks for joining us for that, and we'll see you there.
Sounds good.
All right.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back on Deep Look. Welcome back to Deep Look. Thanks again to Daniel and Preston for joining us. Keith, you feel like you won the drafts?
I do. I think I had a strong showing. I think my seasoned experience being on the Drafted podcast showed in my quality drafting.
I feel pretty good about my drafts. I'm a little unsure about how people are going to feel about my movie picks. I feel like I had some strong picks, and I also maybe blew it on a couple. So we'll see. We'll see what the people think. Make your votes, please, on our social media channels. Don't miss a new Send It Back coming this week, Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Claire Trope, Cammy Groom, and Anna Mad Dog Nazarov will be taking you through Scandal versus Fury 2023 Pro Champs Semi. The fact that this is a Pro Champs Semi game tells you that this one's a special game, because mostly we're talking about finals, semis of, nationals. This is kind of a deeper cut classic game. And of course, these two teams just faced off in the finals of the national championship. So Should be a blast. You can watch live in the Discord with an Ultiworld subscription, and you can also watch on our website if you don't want to join in the live chat. But I recommend the live chat. It's a lot of fun.
Agreed. Plus, you get to engage directly with the people involved, and that's a great crew of ultimate brains to pick, let alone perspectives on this game specifically.
Like 3 of the best, 10 players of the last 10 years or something like that in the United States. I don't know where you could draw the cutoff. 3 of the top 20, easy.
Yeah.
Should be a lot of fun. So again, Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's time for our mailbag question of the week. Keith, what do we got?
Well, I actually want to revisit something that we talked about in our previous mailbag episode where we talked about ultimate stats. It's actually my question, so we're kind of cheating here to come back to it. But I got some interesting thoughts that were given to me by folks from the audience that I want to share and see if you had any thoughts on them. I want to start with an email we got from Noah, which is actually responding to me, where I said that getting stuff about disc speed and their rotation of the disc, I said I dismissed it as being overly granular. And Noah countered saying that it really, to paraphrase, look at what baseball has done with things like spin rate and how that has advanced pitching in the game. Like people have learned a lot about baseball and how to perform optimally because of the advances in statistics, which is something baseball is known for. And saying that this is too granular is probably a little too dismissive of what that kind of data can lead to. And I guess in response to Noah, I would clarify that I meant mostly from a spectator standpoint, like from a fan standpoint. I think that's a little granular. I think from a performance standpoint, from enhancing athlete performance, that information could be super useful. But I think it makes a great point. And looking at what we've learned from baseball and spin rate in particular is instructive on the kinds of things that we can learn and improve upon if we add ultimate stats on that. Charlie, any thoughts on that specifically?
I would say that I trust that spectators would be able to use that information to make them a better fan. I mean, you see the same thing in baseball, right? Nobody was talking about spin rate 10 years ago. Now it's like part of the conversation about pitchers breaking balls. And if a great thrower is able to get really clean, flat hucks that sit on a platter and they're not constantly throwing stuff that's bladey, that's probably because they're throwing with a lot of spin and it's avoiding the fading effect that you're going to see at the end of a disc flight. So I would be pretty interested to see comparing great throwers' spin rates and let's be honest, right? Speed is the thing you want to see first, and then spin rate, and then those things in combination, and how is that affecting flight paths? The Ultra Star is not exactly the most sort of finely tuned disc in the sense that you have to throw it very precisely in order to get a good flight out of it. So I think it's very accommodating for error. But if you're throwing into a headwind or you're trying to throw far, you do start to see those things get magnified. So I don't know. I'm kind of into it. I think that it wouldn't be the first thing on my list of stats that I would want to have, but I would not turn it down from a fan perspective.
I thought it was an interesting perspective from Noah. Joe Marmerstein, a friend of the show and Ultiworld employee and club champion, also shared an old blog post he had from 2016 that he laid out some potential metrics that he thought would be interesting to one day track, including hand blocks and foot blocks, which it is that actually is pretty trackable right now. And it is a little interesting that you never hear talked about. No one ever talks about how many point blocks players get as a function of their blocks. Maybe the numbers are so small that it doesn't really matter. You're getting 8 a season. It would
Some
be
people are better than
really
others,
good. Though. Yeah, but 8 would probably be real. If you got 8 point blocks in a season, that's probably really high number.
But it would be part of an overall marking.
Yeah, it would. But somebody else could get 2, and the scaling between those two is not going to feel accurate because there's so few. But it will be interesting to see that also as a function of how many blocks you get. You also talked about what I think is interesting, and I kind of talked about, which is like being able to have a defensive ratings that are based on how much you limit offensive players.
Yeah.
Based on their averages, like being able to compare an average player's usage versus their usage when they're covered by X, Y, or Z player. I do think defensive stuff in Ultimate can be a little tricky because it's, especially now, it's not always cut and dry who's covering who, what happens on zone points, how do you assign responsibility, but I guess there's ways to work around that. Those are some ideas from Joe that came in. There was also, this is a good joke from Bulb, steps after catch. Who's taking the most steps after the catch? Even just penalties. We don't track penalties even. How often do you foul? How often do you travel? That stuff can be useful. Ari Jackson talked about an idea of what he called impact yards. So basically trying to figure out how many yards occur after the throw that you made to try and capture how much that throw generated advantage for your team. So maybe it will be something like if a player throws a throw, then any throw that's made within the first 3 seconds after they throw it, after that next player throws it with a resetting count, could be included in that stat or something like that. Joe also talked about that with effective assists. So you would an assist would be worth 1, secondary or hockey assist would be worth 0.5, tertiary or third assist would be worth 0.25, and you would add that total to try and capture how throws are setting up teammates for success. I think that some of those concepts are also interesting.
There's so much that we could do. It's exciting to think about.
There's a lot.
Someday.
But very little of it actually achievable right now, but who knows what the future holds.
Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Give us a like and a subscribe if you're listening on the YouTube. If you're listening on your favorite podcasting app, give us a 5-star review. We appreciate it. And don't miss the animal bracket. It was a riot. We just got done recording it. It was awesome.
It's subscribe for. I mean, if you want the most ridiculous conversation about Ultimate you've ever heard on Ultiworld, this is it. This is it.
I'll tease the animal list so people are ready to know what they're getting themselves into. Tiger, alligator, giraffe, warthog, kangaroo, hippo, lemur, cheetah, wolf, zebra, bear, emu, mountain goat, rhino, moose, and elephant. And it's only for subscribers. Don't miss it. For Keith Rayner, I'm Charlie Eisenhood saying so long, and we'll talk to you next week right here on Deep Look.